Welcome. Today we just want to talk about self-leadership, and I'll let you handle this right from the start to explain to us what self-leadership really is and why it's important for anyone and everyone to think about, talk about, and actually have self-leadership in their own lives.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I feel self-leadership is all about understanding oneself to a point where before you can assume a leadership position, or before you are appointed to a particular position in leadership, or before you are elected, I always feel that there is need for one to be able to manage their own personal affairs.
Okay.
Where it starts with you as it goes outwards to other people. I take it from the biblical narrative of creation, where Adam, when he was created, he was given the mandate to dominate his space. And when that mandate came to him, Eve was not there. There was no one else who was there. So it meant Adam was actually given the leadership mandate before there was a follower per se, to the extent that he was supposed to then look or take care of the garden or take care of his space, so that if any other person was going to then come his way, he was going to influence these people on the or with respect to the particular abilities that he had then developed for himself as a way of then influencing others. You know, in leadership, we always say that leadership is influence, the ability or the capacity of an individual to influence or to impact upon another person in such a way that the other person will then be able to do those things they will not otherwise have done under normal circumstances. What then that essentially means is, if you are so good at what you do as a person, and you have developed the capacity of then improving your space in a very positive manner, then you're the rightful candidate for leadership. But you see, one challenge that we have in our present generation is that there are so many people who are desiring to be in leadership positions, but they don't have it within themselves, or they lack the discipline to then do certain things that are so basic.
Okay.
For example, I've always said that if a man cannot make up their bed, they cannot be a pastor, they cannot be a president, they cannot be a managing director.
Okay.
Why? Because that's where it starts.
That's very basics.
That's the basics. And if you cannot do it right, right from the onset or where you are, what it then means is you cannot assume public office and be effective. So before you think of being a manager somewhere, before you think of being a pastor somewhere, before you think of being a professor somewhere or being a president somewhere, you must be able to manage and to lead your own life. So this is where the self-leadership then comes in, to say, let's address it right from the basics. Let's address it right from where you are when you wake up in the morning. The things that you do, they contribute to this thing that we are calling self-leadership, which is a prelude to, public leadership, as it were. So if you ever to become effective in a public platform, there is need to effectively manage oneself. I think that's maybe in play.
I like that. In other words, start with yourself.
Exactly. That's it. That's it.
That's interesting. So tell us, what really inspired you? What had you observed? Is there anything in particular that you'd say this really got you to share these nuggets with us?
True. I've interacted with leaders in the business, in business platforms. I've interacted with leaders from a political standpoint. I've interacted with leaders from a spiritual standpoint. But I've actually realized that there is a very wide gap between what is expected of the leader and what they then deliver, which then explains why the world is in the predicament that it is in. I've always said that leadership is the greatest need of the hour. Why? Because what is expected of the leader and what is then dispensed by those leaders is not in line. So what there's then motivated or inspired me to then write this is to say, as a leader or as a person or as an individual, there is then need for you to deal with the person called you.
Okay.
Yes. So if we can deal with you first and you are okay, then it means every other thing will fall in place. You become a good parent, you become a good father, you become a good mother when you are able to lead yourself to start with. You become a good manager if you are able to lead yourself to start with. You become an effective pastor if you are able to then manage yourself as well. So I feel there is need to emphasize more on what I then call the inside-out perspective. It starts from within before it goes without. So I would say, yeah, that's really what drove me or what motivated me to then write this booklet or this book.
Okay, so I noticed you say here on the back of your cover, leadership is never about positions, power, and possessions. It is about pursuit of one's purpose with passion towards accomplishment of a great feat for civilization. I just want you to expand on this in terms of, I see you've got quite a number of topics here. We would like to just be able to extract from some of them, just nuggets that one can take away to say, maybe I didn't know about self-leadership and I want to start today. Where do I begin?
Okay, great. Maybe I'll start from the back of the book. Like you said, I believe that leadership is not position.
Mm-hmm.
Leadership is not power.
All right.
Leadership is not possessions.
Okay.
Leadership is not the prestige that one has for themselves.
Okay.
But if you look at the world around us, the moment when someone says, I want to be a leader, what they are thinking of is position, what they are thinking of is power,
prestige,
what they are thinking of is prestige, and what they are thinking of are possessions.
All right.
But the truth of the matter is, the world then will not realize the best out of that type
person.
Of leader.
Okay.
Why? Because that leader is selfish.
Okay.
But leadership is not selfishness.
Okay.
Leadership is selflessness. So the moment someone is thinking in terms of selfishness, then it means this person is a position-oriented leader. This person is a possession-oriented leader.
Okay.
This person is a power-oriented leader.
Okay.
But true leadership is actually understanding your purpose. It is knowing the reason as to why you are alive today. It is offloading value to civilization. It is doing more to the world than what you are taking from that world. And this then entails selflessness. It entails serving your gift to the world. I believe that everyone else, when we came here loaded with gifts, loaded with value, loaded with substance. This substance, this value is what we are supposed to then offload unto civilization.
Okay.
And we only have a season to do that. And during our season, we are then saying there is need for you to do everything within your capacity to at least ensure that there is another person who benefits, to ensure that there is the space that you're occupying is actually better off as a result of that which you are carrying. Now, it is catastrophic when you then depart from this earth with the particular gift or the particular seed within you still within. This then explains why at times we then say, the richest place in this world is actually the cemetery. Why? Because in the cemetery, that's where you find so many people who went there without having offloaded the very gifts that were sent to earth to offload. That's why you find, we find a lawyer who never defended a single client in the cemetery. You find a doctor who never treated a single patient in the cemetery. Where you find a writer who never wrote a single line of a book. Now, if you then are not able to do that, it means in as much as you might be occupying a position, you are not a leader. You are a leader by title. But leadership, again, is not title. It's not. I mean, it's about passionate execution of that which you have as you offload it for the benefit and for the good of other people on the face of the earth. So I would say that's then the class that I'm taking.
Okay.
And on this one, maybe if you then look at the first part of the book, there is the mention of survival. We are saying, at times people or leaders, we are just there for purposes of mere survival. And when we talk about survival, it's just a matter of taking in oxygen and taking out carbon dioxide and waiting for the day of death or departure. To the extent that, someone said many people die at the age of 17 and they wait to be buried when they turn 70. In between, there is nothing new that they are contributing to the world. They are just, taking in food, taking it out, in food, out. Then there is nothing really. But we are saying in leadership, you must then move from a state of survival, of just surviving, of just mere existence.
Okay.
Because that was not the intention of the Maker upon mankind. The intention of the Maker upon mankind was something more valuable, where you are then giving out to the very space that you are occupying for the good of that space. So there is need to transition then from this survival. And you also realize that when then someone maybe realize that I'm not just supposed to survive, they strive towards success. But because of the challenges that are around us, they get to a state, what we call stagnation.
All right.
To say, someone maybe was successful just in one particular instance. Then, people would clap hands for this person and, we are excited. But the next moment, we will not hear about that person. They enter into a state that we call stagnation.
Okay.
But again, we are saying, as a leader, you must not then sit back and relax just because you feel, I once did 1, 2, 3, 10 things. We always say that the greatest enemy of success is the last success.
All right.
So when you then hold on to the last success, it means you have entered into stagnation, which is not good for you. It's not good for the leader. And this is, again, where you realize that many leaders, whether it's in the corporate circles, whether it's in the political circles or in the spiritual circles, they will continuously refer to what they did in 2010. They refer to what they did in 2000 instead of focusing on what is before us. Okay. So the issue is you must move from stagnation. You must be able to challenge stagnation, because if you stagnate, it means you make more like iron that is just left there. It develops some rust.
Right.
So actually you have so many people in leadership positions who have a lot of rust on them.
All right.
Because there is nothing new that they are then contributing. They're just like they're seated there and, they always say, in 2005, this is what I did. They will tell you that in the past, in other words, they hold on so much to the achievements of the past. But I believe, yesterday died last night. Right? Yeah, the past is gone.
I like
gone
that.
For good. And the past will never come
again. I think I need to hear that one again. Yesterday?
Died last night. We buried yesterday last night. And that's a fact. And, this is exactly where most leaders then find themselves in. Why? Because they are position-oriented, they are power-oriented, they are prestige-oriented, and they always tell you, hey, during our days, I've gone to some spiritual circles or some churches where, people tell you, during our days, we need to do 1, 2, 3, 20
They're still on a high from the last success.
But then you ask yourself, what is it that you are doing in the present? What will require more than anything else is what you are doing in the present, because the past is gone and gone for good. Let's concentrate on the present and let's focus our attention on the future.
And if I'm getting this correctly, you're basically saying we shouldn't set up camp, like set up a camp on the last success and just dwell there. I'm reminded of some biblical stories on this.
I mean, true.
Remember.
You know what? I can give you an example, right? These days we're using a lot of these, smartphones, as it were, right? But some 18 years ago, there were these phones that we're having, notably the Nokia 3310.
Right.
Nokia 3310 was, a gem, during its day.
I remember getting my own.
Yeah. But you see, if I'm going to bring to you a Nokia 3310 today and say this one is it's new, it's boxed, and I'm saying it's going for 50 cents, you won't take it.
It's like what for?
Yeah, of course. So but you realize what this is exactly what happens in leadership circles at times, where one is continuously holding on to what has been instead of what can be.
What can be.
Yes. So this is where they're saying, no, let's move away from stagnation. Let's then strive towards success, actual success. Success where you are continuously setting goals for yourself. You are striving at something that is better, something that is bigger, something that is loftier than where you've been before. And, this quest of continuously striving at something that is bigger and better than what you have already achieved is what then success entails. Where in success, we will say, we will never arrive. You will never get there. As long as you're alive, there's always room for you to improve.
To do more.
And this is exactly the essence of leadership. To say leadership is continuous improvement of yourself and your capacities for the good of the space that you're occupying. So as long as you are improving yourself, then you're saying, this person here is successful. Then from the success, we are then moving to maybe the core of my message, which is significance.
Okay, yes,
where
I was looking at it.
Success maybe revolves more on the person called you.
Okay.
You are doing things for yourself. Where people then say, Noah did 1, 2, 3, 20 things, and I get so famous and things like that. But is that good enough? No, it's not. There is need for myself to then be able to make another person's life better because I have lived. Now, this is where most people miss it, or this is where most leaders miss it. Why? Because they are thinking of their own personal success. But significance is now focusing on the success of the relevant other. It's focusing on other world citizens. And I touch base on a number of examples of people who were then so selfless in the way in which they conduct themselves. Another for example is Jairus Jiri. Jairus Jiri, around 1950. He was just a garden boy. He was moved by the plight of the handicapped. And he went about, picking some people in the streets who were handicapped, using his meager salary or the little money that he had.
Can you imagine?
And, he was so passionate about, the handicapped, to the extent that back then, 1950, he formed the Jairus Jiri Association, the first of its kind by a black Zimbabwean or a black Rhodesian back then. And, he went about, contributing or making his name felt in almost every part of the country by, the drive that he had for the handicapped. And to me, that's significance. That's value addition. And from 1950 up to the time he died in 1982, he was a man who was doing things. And he was recognized
for others.
Yes, far and wide. So, in actual fact, leadership is not then about the so many resources that you're having. It's about the drive that you're having from within to then do something that is going to make another person's life better. To do something that will remain in the annals of history, where posterity will remember you for your contribution. I think on this one, I would have done a disservice if I don't then mention what happened in 1888. Get me right, 1888. 1888, there's a gentleman who woke up in the morning to see his own obituary in the newspaper. In that obituary, it was written, the merchant of death has finally died. The man who has invented dynamite, which has killed so many people, has finally succumbed to death. And the man who is reading these words is the very person who is made reference to in that particular obituary. Now, what had actually happened is that a day before, his brother is the one who had actually died. So a journalist had actually mistaken the death of the brother to be the death of his own. So it was a matter of mistaken identity. But when he read that, he said to himself, I don't want to be remembered for something that is negative. I would want to be remembered for something that is worthwhile. True, I've been so successful. I made so much money, but it's not good enough to just have money which will then not benefit other people. And what does he do?
I hear that.
He actually had his last will written in the coming few weeks. Where in that will he said, I'm contributing 95% of all my wealth to the advancement of world peace, to the advancement of world medicine, to the advancement of research in chemistry and research in physics.
What a turnaround. Now,
in 1885, this man then died. But, because of the money that he had, his will was then actualized in the year 1901. From 1901, then his wish was then put into effect. To the extent that from the year 1901 to the present, there's what we call the Nobel Peace Prizes. They are given year in, year out. Courtesy of who? Alfred Nobel. Who was Alfred Nobel? The inventor of dynamite. The one who came across his own obituary in the newspaper. And, here he is then, saying, he is still speaking even up to now. And I always say to people, a leader is someone who is going to speak even from their grave.
Beyond
this is where, if there's one thing that drives me, I want to be able to have this voice speak from my grave. Yeah. So if I drop dead today, please make sure that this record is there for the sake of posterity.
Absolutely. You've done so much work.
I write every day. Why? Because I want someone probably to make reference to what I've written. And if I drop dead today, it means my voice will speak from my books.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's to me,
transform lives.
I think that's significant. We are saying every leader, when you assume a particular position, think in terms of significance. When we give you a particular title, think in terms of significance. And by the way, I'm one person, I don't believe much in titles. I believe, what you do must be able to speak on your behalf. Whether you're called a doctor, you're called a professor, you're called whatever, your work must be able to speak. So I don't need a title. What I'm doing must be able to speak on my behalf. But you see, many people then think leadership is title. And this explains why some people go to the extent of even buying qualifications. Imagine. For what purpose and for what reason?
Just the title.
Yes, they just want the title. But is that good enough? No, it's not. A title does not make you a leader.
I see how that's different from significance now, just versus just holding a title.
Of course. Yeah, because, I mentioned Jairus Giri. He died in 1982. But right now we still have Jairus Giri Association still running.
Absolutely.
Yes. Why? Because this man was driven by significance. Then from significance, the other issue is succession.
Okay.
A leader without a successor is a failure.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, how powerful you are. It doesn't matter how successful you are. As long as you fail to develop someone else, it means you are not an effective leader.
We've seen this a lot in the body of Christ, in the church. Sometimes some ministries are so centered on maybe one individual to the point that they don't have anyone that could be a second at all that comes close in terms of.
It's very unfortunate
training or something.
That some of these people, they think they will live forever. But no one will live forever. There is no one who rules forever on the throne of life. So for that reason, you must be able to then develop others. And how unfortunate it is when you see it in the body of Christ. Why? Because, Jesus Christ himself, right from the onset, one thing that he did is, the first meeting that he had, he was telling them, guys, I'm going to die one day.
Yes.
Why? You can't say that. Why are you saying that?
They would actually get upset, some of them.
Right from the first week of ministry, he was picking up potential successor of those people who are going to run with the ball after his departure. There's what I call the Jesus idea of succession. What does it say? Jesus, right through his ministry, he was in the process of discovering potential.
Okay.
Yes. And this is exactly what a leader should do. Discover potential. What did he do next? He developed the potential. He picked up the Peter and the John and the James and the Nathaniel and the Lord, and he was developing those continuous and so many others that he then developed. Wow. What does he do next? He deployed the potential. So when you discover the potential, you develop it, then you deploy it. Now go out there 2 by 2. Go and do this and that and that. Then come back and give me feedback. That's deployment of potential. Wow. Then what else does he do? He departed from the scene. Leaders must be able to depart from the scene. Right. You say, my time is up, guys. I'm out of here.
And some of his followers were even upset to say, no,
you can't leave, don't depart. Yeah. Yes. But the issue is, that's the essence of succession. That's self-leadership, where you make a decision to yourself to say, I want to develop 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 people because one of these days I won't be here. You see, one dilemma that I have come across, especially in African businesses, is that, is might be doing so well, but the moment they die, maybe 6 months later, 12 months later,
their empire is
crumbled. And in African culture, then we say, no, this person, they went with their things. Yes, they went with their things. But is it that they
doesn't have to be that way, right?
No, it's not that they're things. They failed on one of the most important principles of leadership, which is succession. Right. They failed to develop. When they were going out there to do or to engage in their business, they didn't take with them their children. They didn't take with them anyone else. You know one thing that I do these days? Whenever I go to a conference or to a speaking engagement, I always have 1 or 2 people with me.
Okay.
Because I say, I want you to also learn from me. I want you to see how I go about it. Why? Because I might drop dead tomorrow. You know, I'm one person, I'm not afraid of talking about death because I know it's going to come anyway. You know what? I speak about it, and someone said, speak about death, and even about your death. And one of these days you'll be very right, you'll be very correct. So the issue is, it gives you a sense of agency to realize that I am not here forever. And because of that reason, if ever there's something that I have to contribute, I have to contribute today.
Okay.
Why should I do today? Okay. Because fine, yesterday is gone for good. Why? Because tomorrow, there are so many tomorrows that are going to come, but they are not all mine. Right? So for that reason, the best present that I have at my disposal is now. So I want to maximize on the now. I want to maximize on the today. And on the today, I want to develop that one and that one and that one as part and parcel of succession. So those 5 things, they're actually part and parcel of the first portion of my book, right? From survival, stagnation, success, significance, then succession. Someone might then say, but why are you just mentioning, that progression to a point where you then get to succession? It's because there is need for everyone to then be able to determine as to where they are.
Where they are in this process.
Yes. Where they are, then to then say, someone will then say, what should I do?
Okay.
What then do I do so as to make sure that I get to a state of significance and succession? This is where I then share on some nuggets that I feel are so central to then being able to contribute significantly unto your space. And on these ones, one of the key issues that I then emphasize on is self-awareness.
Okay.
Yes. You must understand yourself. Understand yourself as in whom you are. Why is it that you came to it at this particular moment in time? Why is it that you didn't come here earlier? Why is it that you were not meant to come here later? Right? At times I ask myself, why did I come here in the 15th century?
Okay.
It's because the solution that I'm carrying was not meant for that generation. It's meant for now. Why is it that I was not meant to come in the 25th century? It's because what I'm carrying right now is for now. Right? So self-awareness is all about understanding your purpose, understanding your why. It is about crafting what we call your life sentence, something that would define you, something that people remember you for. So my life sentence is not determined by my career.
All right.
When you ask someone, whom are you? They tell you, no, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a whatever.
Right.
No, that's not whom you are.
Tell us more about that.
Whom you are is more to do with connecting with the very blueprint as to why you were sent to earth. To then say, a bird is supposed to fly, and the fishes, will swim in water. That's it. So whom I am cannot then be attached to a career that I'm having.
Okay.
Because a career, then say, no, it's running from the age maybe 23 to the age 65 when I retire. Then afterwards, what is going to happen? But you see, if I get to 65 or if I get to 75, I'll still be writing. It's part of me.
So give us an example, of how you yourself would, maybe kind of show us your self-awareness. How would you describe yourself? How would you, if somebody asked you that same question that you mentioned, to say, who are you? Who is Noah Mangwarara? Because that would then help someone listening to say, okay, if they are asked this question, how can they best capture who they really are? As you're saying that a lot of us would probably describe ourselves with what we do, in terms of just the career, but how would one describe? So by hearing yours, I think that can help.
Okay, thank you. I think one thing that I would maybe quickly mention is probably to talk in terms of my purpose.
Yes.
Right? My purpose is to contribute value unto the lives of other people. Through what? Through the spoken word. Through what? Through the written word. And what does this mean? it means I must have a vision. A vision of something that I'm continuously striving towards. And some years back, I actually coined my vision, where I said my vision is to be a voice of influence and impact in my generation and beyond.
Okay.
So whatever I'm doing right now, it's in line with my vision to be a voice, the voice that you're listening to.
Right.
Where in my generation, not only my generation, but and beyond. So this then explains why I was talking in terms of contributing to posterity. So the voice that you are listening to right now is part and parcel of the vision or fulfillment of the vision, to say the voice is recorded for what? For the benefit of others. And then driven by my personal motto, positively impacting humanity. My playground is not the country of my birth. The country of my birth is too small for this voice. Yes. It's not, my playing ground is not just the continent of my birth. The continent of my birth is just too small for this voice. Someone in Afghanistan should one day maybe listen to this voice and say, wow, I'm moved and I'm inspired and I'm going to jump and do those things that I'm supposed to do. And that's then myself. But so the challenge that we have at times is that we then define ourselves, or we then confine ourselves to a very small locality.
Right.
We confine ourselves to a small growth point somewhere and we think we've achieved, or to a small city somewhere and think we've done it, or to a small country of 16 million people and we think we've done it. But there are 7-something billion people in the world. And to me, that's I want to contribute massively unto all those, to a point where, like I mentioned earlier on, one of the key issues that should then maybe drive me is to say, I don't want the titles. I don't want all those things. But what I'm then doing must be able to speak. Whether you call me by a certain title, you don't. But what I am should be able to stand out. I'll give an example. When someone mentions Mahatma Gandhi, you don't need an explanation. Or Nelson Mandela, or Muhammad Ali, or Barack Obama. Do you need an explanation to that? Do you need an attachment to their name before their name or after? You don't. Why? Because of their contribution. And this is exactly what each and every person should then be able to do.
True.
To say, at the end of it all, it's not about the attachment to my name, but it is about what I'm doing. I would share with you something that is very interesting. I speak in a number of conferences.
Yes,
and
you do.
Most people, they then say when they are preparing for the conference, they always say, what title should we attach? If you look closely, most of the flyers where I appear is written Noah Mangwarara.
Okay.
There could be 7, other speakers, Dr. So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so, and this and that, or Professor So-and-so. Yes. And to me, on my name, mostly it's written Noah Mangwarara. And I do it deliberately. I always ask, the desire to say, I don't want any attachment to my name. I mean, you know why? Because you don't find in the Bible it's written Dr. Jesus or Professor Jesus.
And he had it all, really.
Yes,
he had it all.
Or Dr. Daniel. I mean, we don't see that. But, the influence and the impact that they made was so massive.
Enough.
Yes. I mean, you don't find Noah. I mean, I thank God for the name that was given by my parents. I mean, you don't find Dr. Noah in the Bible. It is Noah. Yes. And that's enough. I'm not saying I'm there yet, but that's what I'm striving towards.
Obviously,
I'm striving towards, doing something that will then be remembered for probably as part and parcel of my little contribution to this space that I've been given to occupy in at this particular moment in time.
Today we are talking really about a book called Self-Leadership, and this book, people, is loaded. We haven't even scaled the surface right now. There's still so much more to get out of it, and I would encourage anyone that's truly wanting to change their life, that feels maybe they've been stagnant somewhere, or along the process that he has described here. If you feel you really want to do something about it, this is a really good book to get. And can we just have a look at the cover?
Oh, yeah.
So that's what it looks like. That's Self-Leadership by Noah Mangwarara. Check out this book. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. It's one of those that you have as a reference book. You don't read it once and then just put it away. It's one of those that you will likely want to keep referring to, and just as you work on your path, on your life purpose. And really, we would love to hear from you as well. We'd love to hear the feedback. If you've read it, write to us. You will see our details on the screen. Let us know as well other books that you're reading that are making a difference. But Mr. Mangwarara has written so many books. Maybe you could just tell us a few of the other titles.
All right. One of my first book was Dimensions of Success. Yes, it's based on what I call the 8 Ds of success.
Okay.
Yes, which include dream big, determination, desire, and above all else, doing it. It's more of the action. So the 8 Ds. Then the other one is called Success Favors the Brave.
Yes, I think I kind of know. A little bird told me you like this one a lot.
Oh yeah, true. So Success Favors the Brave is a book that is based on the life of an ego, or the principles of the ego, which include things like the power of vision, when ego is a very powerful sense of sight, which is 5 times more than that of a human being. And we are saying any person anyway must be able to see beyond their present circumstances. You must be able to cast your sight deep into the future.
Okay.
And it also comes down to, it also mentions issues of focus, where you don't have to be everything and everyone on this world. You must be able to focus your attention on a select few things that you then put all your effort onto.
Okay.
And you'll be amazed at the results that will come your way, which is exactly what an ego does. When an ego sees some 15 chickens sitting down there, the ego doesn't come down to grab the 15. She focuses their attention on one and only on that one until
she target and get it.
Yes. So that's Success Favors the Brave. Then the other book is called Success in Leadership: Lessons from the Elephants. Now, this is actually based on, the elephants, or the body parts of an elephant, where you're saying an elephant lives in total tranquility with other animals in the jungle, or the elephant, in as much as she's so big, she doesn't abuse power.
Yes, that's interesting.
She's actually, or she connects with others, right? Which is again one thing that we must also strive at doing as leaders, where it also touches base on the body parts of an elephant, like the trunk of the elephant. The trunk of the elephant is so flexible, to be able to pick up maybe a needle from the ground. The trunk of the elephant can draw water. The trunk of the elephant can pull down a tree. You name it, literally anything and everything. Now, what does that mean in leadership? In leadership, leaders must be flexible. Okay. You cannot afford to be rigid in the manner in which you execute your mandate. To say, this is why this is how I do my things, and you fix yourself there. No. Leadership is flexibility. You must be as flexible as possible. Maybe the other thing is also the stomach of the elephant. The stomach of the elephant can, an elephant can eat something like 500 kilos of matter every day. Wow. Yes, about 120 liters of water every day. That's what she drinks. But amongst the food that the elephant then eats, there are some thorns there, there are some poisonous substances there, because the elephant is not then able to sift. So that food gets into the stomach. So the stomach is having all that. But interestingly, the stomach is able to sift the good from the bad, to the extent that if you step upon elephant dung, you might actually be prickled by thorns. Thorns, yes.
And yet
and how is it possible how is it possible that the stomach has managed to push those things out? Now, that's an aspect of conflict resolution. Right. We're saying leadership, we are bound to come across challenges, all problems, kinds of things, toxic and things like that. You must be able to deal with that and remain intact and remain okay without it should not kill you. The poison should not kill you. Yeah, that's part of it. Then the other books are the teamwork, the principles from the beehive. This one is based on the beehive principle, where bees, they produce honey, which is just a sweet, but it doesn't take a single honey bee to produce honey. Now, a single honey bee survives for about 8 weeks. But honey takes about 6 months to produce. Wow. So it means it's it's more a matter of carry over of the work from one to the other. And each one is contributing massively to the good and to the betterment of the beehive. In the beehive, we have what we call the queen bee. The queen bee is the sole mandate of laying eggs. She doesn't do any other thing. She's just laying the eggs to sustain the bee colony. But the beehive also have what we call the foragers. The foragers are the ones that are actually going out there to pick up the food or the pollen and bring it back home. They're not making the honey. They're just bringing in the pollen. In the beehive, we have what we call the beewax foundation builders. These ones are the ones that build the structures within which the queen bee lays the eggs. Then there are the workers. The workers, they are the ones who are then making the honey. Then there are the nest bees who are taking care of the young ones and the queen bee. Then there are also the guards. The guards, they are moving up and down the entrance of the beehive to protect the beehive. Now, this shows a lot of raw clarity in terms of, in teamwork, always say that you must appreciate your role and, play your role so well for the good and for the benefit of the whole colony, which is exactly, that's what I share, in that particular book. I also have another one on the lion pride. It's called Teamwork, Lessons from the Lion Pride. This one is based on how lions go about hunting. When lions hunt, they don't hunt individually. They hunt as a pride, normally led by the lioness or the oldest lioness there. Now, they're able to down maybe a zebra or a giraffe because of the level of focus, concentration, communication that then exists within the pride. That's teamwork.
Wow.
Yes. Then, of course, the one that we're talking about, right? And one or two or three others.
Of course. I know you've written quite a number of books. So Ish, we will have to bring you back to talk about more of these books because we are going to be reviewing books in this particular type of show.
Okay,
we will be, so we would really like you to come back and share some more nuggets from your books. We know you also do trainings, corporate training for such as maybe teamwork, team building, and so forth. What else do you do?
Oh yeah, of course. I speak leadership. I eat leadership. I write leadership. I'm into people development. I'm into human capacity development, where we do a lot of leadership development to start with, management training, board training. We also do team building at every level. Whether it's leadership training is also at every level, as it were. And we have also done quite some work with youths, where we believe in contributing much to the upcoming or the upcoming generation.
Absolutely.
To then say, where there is room for us to add value, then we add that value. And then here and there, then I also do some writing. Writing is not part of the work. Writing is part of just offloading what I know to others. My real work comes down to speaking. Right, I'm a professional speaker, and that's my daily work.
Wow, thank you so much for just making time. We know you're very busy, but making time to just be here and chatting, and we definitely will have you back, hopefully.
At times we pretend to be busy. But thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with us, we'll put our number. You'll have a look at it on the screen. But for those who would like to get in touch with Noah Mangwarara, I'll let him give us his details because really, I'm telling you, this man is loaded. You want to get a hold of him and get your life on track.
Okay, thank you. I'm literally everywhere, and I can come where you are. My number, which is also my WhatsApp number, is 0772 884 509, or if it's plus 263 772 884 509. Then you can also reach me on my personal website, www.noahmangwarara.com. right? That's my personal website, or our corporate websites, which are www.noahsarkleadership.com, www.noahsarkleadership.com. Then the last one is www.noahsarkteams.co.zw. So those are the you can get quite a lot from there in terms of what we do, in terms of the team building on the team building website, or the leadership on the leadership website, or more about these books and the other things that I do personally on my personal website. Thank you.